Hi, I'm David Martin. We've converted our home to be all electric. We used to have gas heat, gas hot water, gas range, gas dryer. Now the gas has been disconnected and we heat with heat pumps. Mass Save helped us add insulation to the attic and walls of this house, but other than that, it's a regular old New England house, 60 years old. Since we get our electricity from a renewable supplier, in our case Acton Power's Choice Green, our home is now carbon free. Come on inside and I'll show you the changes we've made. So one of the first things we did was to replace the gas range that was here with an induction range. An induction range is preferred by cooks because it heats amazingly quickly and it goes off instantly. Because it heats with magnetism, it heats the pan directly, and so the cooking surface only gets warm. An induction range works with any pan that attracts a magnet. It won't work with aluminum cookware. However, a regular electric range is also fine. An induction range is only about 15% more efficient, whereas an electric range is still twice as efficient as a gas range, because a gas range is actually better at heating the air than it is at heating the pan. So either an electric range or an induction range is fine. When we converted our house to electricity, this room was already a little cool in the winter. And so we decided to add an extra mini split heat pump to this room. This wall unit is typical of a mini split heat pump, really common. It provides heating and air conditioning to most of the first floor of the house, especially air conditioning in the summer. So it's a little bit oversized. The indoor units for a mini split heat pump can be wall units like this. They can be console units which mount on the floor, kind of like an old style radiator, or they can be ceiling units that drop from the ceiling. Let's go look at the outside. This is the outdoor unit for the heat pump, the mini split. It's a 1.5 ton or 18,000 BTU unit. It's a little bit oversized for that room, but that's because it provides air conditioning to most of the first floor in the summer. Mini splits are called splits because the indoor unit is separate from the outdoor unit. They're connected by refrigerant lines, and it's kind of mix and match. Each outdoor unit, you can get kinds that support up to 4 indoor units, and you can get the different kinds of indoor units that I mentioned earlier. But most of the house is heated by a bigger heat pump. Let's go look at that. This is a 4-ton or 48,000 BTU heat pump. It looks very typical for a heat pump of this size. This one is, however, a little different. Instead of running refrigerant lines inside, this is an air-to-water heat pump. And what runs inside are just pipes carrying water, and the water is used to heat the house. It can also cool the house, but in this particular house, it's only used for heat. And in my case, it just runs to the existing baseboard that used to be used for heat from the old gas boiler. Let's go down to the basement and I can show you where these pipes go. Before we get to those pipes though, I'd just like to show you the dryer. The dryer used to be a gas dryer. It's now a heat pump dryer. So a heat pump dryer costs maybe 50% more than a regular electric dryer, but it consumes 1/3 of the electricity. And they operate in a really clever way. The air blows through the hot side of the heat pump and then through the drum to dry the clothes. And then that air runs through the cold side of the heat pump where the water is condensed out. And then air goes through the hot side of the heat pump again and dries the clothes further, etc. And so this heat pump doesn't vent to the outside and take your nice conditioned air from the inside of your house and blow it out. So it also saves money that way. The water goes out through a little hose here. Typically this hose would go to the same drain where your washer drains. In my case, I have it in a separate drain. Let's go look at where that heat pump water goes. So this is a buffer tank. This buffer tank holds the hot water that comes from that air to water heat pump. It just accumulates here and is then pumped further through the house. Come on down here and I'll show you the piping. This house has 5 zones. Each has a circulator pump, and water from the tank is pumped through the house when a thermostat calls for heat. This works just like it would for a conventional boiler, except that the temperature of the water is a little bit lower. I used to have my gas boiler set to have 140 degree water. This runs with 120 degree water. It still heats the house just fine. In fact, it's a little quieter because the pipes don't bang like they did with the hotter water. In between here, this is a heat pump water heater. And the bottom half of this, the gray area, is just like a regular electric water heater. In fact, it has resistance electric heaters. But on the top, there's a heat pump that pumps heat out of this basement room and into the water. Heat pumps, we certainly use them more now for heating houses and things like that, but they're not new. Every refrigerator is a heat pump that pumps heat from inside your refrigerator to the room that it's in. This kind of does just the opposite of that. It pumps heat from the room that it's in and into the water. So I have one more thing I'd like to show you. Let's go outside and I'll show you my electric tools. So I don't have any more gasoline in the house. All my yard tools are battery electric. I've had the lawnmower for about 4 years. It costs about the same, works about the same as a gasoline lawnmower. This one is not self-propelled, but they make self-propelled units as well. The batteries in them are compatible with all these tools, and they come in different sizes. You can just pop one out and pop another one back in. And because of that, you can mow continuously, because it takes about as much time to charge the battery as it does to discharge it when you're using the tool. The leaf blower works actually a little bit better than a gasoline leaf blower. It's amazingly strong. The chainsaw, maybe not quite as good as a gasoline chainsaw of that size, but it works pretty well, certainly acceptably well for my needs. The snowblower works about the same as a gasoline snowblower. In fact, it actually blows snow a little bit further. It does, however, consume a lot of energy to blow that snow. And so it takes 2 batteries, and I actually have an extra set of batteries so I can clear the driveway continuously. But that means even though this tool is not more expensive than a gasoline snowblower, the extra batteries are more expensive. So the very final thing I'd like to show you is that I have a couple of 230-volt outlets in the ceiling of this garage for electric car chargers. And I put them in the ceiling to make it easy to plug in the car, because they're available. I don't have to drag it across the floor. And having them in the ceiling allows me to take this wire to any corner of the car should we get a different brand of car in the future. So for example, Ford, Chevys, Kias, they have their charging point in the port in the front left of the car. Tesla's it's in the left rear. Toyota's in the right rear. Nissan's in the center front. And if I get a different kind of car, I can just run the wire to a different corner of the car. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you consider making your house all electric and carbon free.